All right, welcome back to Microsoft Excel tips and tricks. Today we'll be talking about compound sorting and filtering. There's some really amazing things that you can do in Excel. So here we have a pretend school with some pretend students on our little worksheet here. And we can see that we've got lots of data here. And so let's take a look. We've got some student numbers here, some last name, first name. So the first thing I'm going to want to do is this is kind of, I can't even read the birth dates, and this is a little bit crazy. So if you haven't seen our formatting basics video, very quickly you can go there and learn all kinds of formatting tricks. But just very quickly, I want to make sure all of these columns are wide enough to accommodate the largest data set, whether that's the actual header, in this case, student number, or in this case down here, the numbers that are actually the birth date. And the fastest way to do that is to simply go between A and 1, click on it, and select the entire worksheet to infinity, both down and across. And then I can go between any one of these. In this guy, I'll just start here because it doesn't matter. Since all of it's selected from column A out to infinity and row 1 down to infinity, if I just get between F and G or any one of these, and as soon as I see my black left and right arrow, if I hold it steady and double click, what it will do in essence for not only column E, but every other column, since they're all selected, it will widen the column to accommodate the largest data set. So let's give it a try. Double click. Oh, moved. Great object lesson. Got to not move. 1, 2. There we go. So we see that the grade levels aren't that big. This is clearly an elementary school because we have 0 kindergartners all the way through 5th grade, 6 grades. But the widest data set, I'm just going to click anywhere to deselect everything. The widest data set in this case is our header, grade level. But now it's a lot easier to see everything we're working with. And it's just a much better way to do this. All right. So let's talk about compound sorting real quick. If we look over here, we'll just talk about sorting in general first. If we look over here where it says last name, we can see that the very first student, last name starts with an A, the next one with an M, back to an A. Clearly, this is not sorted in alphabetical order by last name. In fact, if we take a little time to examine column A, it does look like we're actually sorted by least to greatest as far as numbers go. But that makes it hard when you're trying to find someone's name in a list. So let's see if we can put this into a see if we can actually sort it to put it in alphabetical order. So I'm going to, first I want to check and see, oh, I actually do not have my row 1 fixed in place. So let's go ahead and select all of row 1. And then I have to remember, where can I go so that I can lock that first row so this stays there, so that when I scroll down, I can always see the headers and remember which each column represents. And so with a little bit of practice, you can kind of think about all the different ribbons that are up there. And you might remember that maybe it's over here in view. And in fact, if I go down here past the workbook group, the show group, the Zoom group, down here in the Windows group, it says freeze panes. And so there's our choice right there, freeze top row. All right, now I'm going to click away from that. So when I'm looking down here for something, a different student, I'm scrolling down here and I find that student that I was looking for. In this case, it's Valeria Kadua. And I'm looking over here and I see that there's an F there and I might remember what that is, but oh yeah, there's our header. So it doesn't matter how far down you go or where you're going, you always have those headers there. That makes it a lot easier. Also, by fixing the first row, when you start to sort things and filter things, it's going to keep that in place. So let's go ahead now and we're going to select all of column B. And in case we're wondering just how many students we have here, we're going to use a keyboard shortcut real quick to get to the bottom of our list because I want you to see how far down this goes. So all I have to do is find the control key at the bottom left-hand corner of your keyboard. And between your QWERTY keyboard and your number keypad, there are some buttons there above your up, down, left, right arrows. You usually have an insert, a delete, an end, END, like the end of a movie, home, like the home you live in, page up, page down. And by holding the control key down, and then just tapping one time the end key, like the end of a movie, END, it takes us all the way to the very limits of our spreadsheet. In this case, we're all the way down on 474, nearly 500 students in this school. And in fact, it took us all the way from columns A, B, C, and all that, all the way out to L. That's the furthest extreme of all of this. If we want to see the name of the student, we can just drag it back. So there's our Sarah Zuniga. Happens to be a fifth grader at this elementary school. And this elementary school has, is it 474 students? Nope, 473 because row one is a header. So we have to subtract one. All right. So I could scroll for a long time to get back up there, but hey, let's see if there's another way to do this. I'm going to let go of my mouse, going to hold down the control key, and right above, generally, the end key is the home key. If I tap that, it takes me to the prime position, which is right up here at the top. So now we're back to where we were. All right. So again, I want to sort column B by last name. So I'm going to go ahead and select column B. And now I've got to get back to the Home tab ribbon because that's where most of our stuff is found. And not in the font group or the alignment group or the number group, but all the way over here in the editing group, we have this little button here called AZ Sort and Filter. And if we hover over it, it gives us a little idea of what it can do about organizing our data. Well, what we want to do is just hit the little more button that's right there. It's basically a drop-down menu. And so we have some choices. So because I have column B selected, it says sort A to Z. Is that what we want it? Or if they're numbers in there, lowest to highest? Or do we want it Z to A, or do we want a custom sort? There's lots of options. We're going to keep this simple for now. We are doing compound sorting, but you do it one sort at a time. So column B, remember that, just real quick, what's the first name of Miss Acosta here? It's Sabah. And what's Sabah Acosta's student number? It's that one here. And then what's Sabah Acosta's birth date? So all of the stuff in the row to the right and to the left of Miss Acosta is important data. So when we go up here and we say sort A to Z, watch what Excel does. Always get this sort warning. And it says, hey, Microsoft Excel found data next to your selection. That is to the left and to the right. Since you have not selected this data, it will not be sorted. What do you want us to do? Well, we want it to expand the selection. Otherwise, all of these names will change, be put in alphabetical order, and this column will be the same. Saba, Danny, Liz, Leon, and all the numbers we said. We don't want that. We want to expand the selection. So by default, that button is selected. So all we have to do at this point is just say sort. Watch what happens. All right. So now just click over here to deselect column B. We can see we have all A's. And we can see that the second letter, we got C's, D's, G's. And if we scroll down a little bit, pretty soon we'll get into the B's. There they are. And so on and so forth. That's great. So let's talk about sorting real quick. So I just sorted by last name. That could be very helpful because if we're looking for someone with the name that starts with a B, we know we just scroll down a little bit past the A's and we'll find it. We also know that if we're looking for Sarah Zuniga with a Z, we want to get to the very bottom and we might want to use our little trick of Control End, END, to be able to get down there really fast. So it's helpful to have it by last name. But maybe we're thinking, well, what about if we sort it by first name? So Sabah comes way after Camilla, and Camilla comes way after Andrew. If I select this entire column, and I go over here and I say sort A to Z, last names will not stay the same because these all have data to the left and the right. So the point is you can compound sort things, but within reason. You can't sort last name and then expect to sort first name as well and have them both sorted in A to Z. It won't work because this last name's an A, the first name's an S, and this one's an A, that one's a C, and so on and so forth. But we can do other stuff. So let's go over here and look at a grade level. So our first student here, Sabah Acosta, is a fifth grader. All right. And the second one is a first grader. So maybe what we want to do is we'll select column E, and then we'll go over here to sort and filter again, and we'll say smallest to largest. And remember, kindergartners are 0, and then first graders are 1, and all the way up to 5, which is fifth grade. So we'll go ahead and do it. And oh yeah, remember the sort warning? Yes, this 5 here is related to everything to the right and everything to the left. So we always want to expand the selection. And again, this happens by default. It'll just be selected there. So I'll just say sort. And we're going to see what, and remember, we're going from lowest to highest. So we're not going to have fifth graders at the top. We're going to have something else. Boom. There we go. I'm going to click over here to deselect that. So now we have all the zeros because those are kindergartners. That's the lowest number. And if we go down here at some point, we're going to get to the first graders. There they are. But look at this. We go back up to the top real quick. The very first kindergartner starts with an A. Then comes the B's and the C's and the D's. And as we get all the way down to the end of the kindergartners, where the first graders start, here we go. The very last kindergartner with the designation of grade level of 0, because that's what kindergartners are designated as, is Ellis Zanzibar. And then the very first grader by order of last name, alphabetical order from lowest to highest, or A to Z, is Camilla Acosta. And then it kind of goes up, and then it's the B's and C's. And we can keep doing this. We go down to the end of the first graders. Let's take a look. Here's the end of the first graders. It's Daniel Cepeda. All right. And the very first second grader is Estefany Ayani. Okay. Those are pretend names, and that's a good one. I haven't heard that one before. So we have this compound sorted first by last name, then by grade level. All right, let's go back up to the top. So can you compound it more? It depends. If I now want to go back to try and compound a sort with a first name, last name's going to be scrambled, so that wouldn't work. But how about this? We have gender. We have male and female, and I know now there is other gender designations, but for the purpose of this lesson, we have just the two at the moment. And so if I select all of this, I now am going to have it sorted by last name, A to Z, then sorted by grade level, then sorted by, in this case, male and female. And since we're going to go over here and do it A to Z, F comes before M, so we can kind of expect what's going to happen. A couple things. First thing we're going to expect is that little warning bells, this little dialog box. Warning, your data has information to the left and to the right. Do you want to expand the selection so that you don't accidentally scramble column F and leave all the rest the same? You betcha. Sort. So there we are. So now, obviously, since we just have the two in this column of F's and M's, then all the F's are going to come first because they come first in the alphabet. And of course, we had the kindergartners, so they come first. And of course, we had the last names, they're in alphabetical order. But look at this. Now, if it's just the females in kindergarten, on this three-way compound sorting, there's only two with the last name A. Then we get to the B and the C's and the D's. So still alphabetical order, still by grade level, but it's female. So let's do this. Let's scroll down and, oh, look at this. It stays female all the way to first grade. So the last kindergartner is a Y, not a Z. And then the very first grader starts with the last name A, Antonio. And so we see that it's going to be female all the way down to grade 5, and then it's going to switch to male, go back to kindergartners. But when you do this, it takes a little bit of practice to think about it. I did column B first, last name, followed by column E, grade level, and then I switched to column F. Well, what if I did B, then F, then E? Would it change it? Would I have to have all 5 grades female before I get to start over with kindergarten through 5th grade with the male? And so we've done a total of 3 sorts here. So if I just go here to my handy undo button and I undo once, that means that column F is now back to where it was with M's and F's everywhere. And if I do one more undo, it's going to take the grade levels and put them back to where they were. So now we see that we have a 5 there in column E, and then a 1 and a 4. But we still have our last names all in alphabetical order. So this time, instead of going to grade level next, because I've already done this sort before, and I just undid these ones. So in essence, I've only done one sort. I'm going to go to gender next. And then I'm going to go up here and say sort and filter. And I'm going to say A to Z. We already know what's going to happen. Right? We're going to get the sort warning. Yep, no problem. And we're going to see all the F's first. Okay. But then I'm just going to jump straight ahead here. And I'm going to say, okay, the next thing I want to do is I want to do grade level. This is the third one. Before it was the second one. This is now the third of the compound sorting. So I'm going to go over to sort and filter. And I'm going to say smallest to largest. Yes, sort warning, expand the selection, you bet. So now we have alphabetical order. We have grade 0, which is kindergartner, and we have female. So now let's go down and see what we've got here. Look at that. Now we have all of the females and all of the males in alphabetical order in just the grade level. So we've changed the way that it represents. So in short, we started with a 3-column sorting, a compound sorting of last name, followed by grade level and gender. And then we switched it up. We went back and we did a last name. Then the second sort was column F, and the third one was column E. And so you can see that now kindergarten is going to be all the male and female, all in alphabetical order. And then we're going to start first grade with the females. There's our A's and B's and C's. It's still in alphabetical order. And we're going to get through all the females in first grade. And there's male. So the last female, it starts, the last name starts with the letter Z, and the first grader starts with an A. That's a male. And so that's an example of compound sorting. And it's really a great way to be able to do things, to be able to organize stuff. And since we're talking about sorting and filtering, I'm just going to go back now and hit this three times and just get back to where we started. Oh, that's too far. Look at that. We're back to all the data being crunched together. No problem. Redo. Okay, that's much better. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to do some filtering. This is just another way to do this. Of course, you could still have the last name in order if you want, in alphabetical order to do this. But basically, you can take any one of these and you can do something called filtering. We're just going to do grade level right now. So we have fifth and first and fourth, and I just selected it. So I go over here and I say filter, and I say, all right, let's filter. Boom. Wait, Mr. J, nothing happened. Well, actually it did. We now have this little button here. That's pretty cool. So I'm going to go ahead and select it. And let's try something. Since it's up here in the header, it's actually referring to all of column E. So this button selects everything. It also deselects everything. So let's say what we really need right now is we just want to see second and third graders. So real quick, look over here. We see our rows are all in order, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way down to 18. And if we keep scrolling, we see a lot more. But we're just going to see second and third graders here. So some of these other ones are going to disappear. Watch what happens. So we did say we wanted second and third graders. Now, this isn't sorted in any kind of order because we undid all the orders, but we could have done this afterward in whatever order we were in. But look, there's second grader, there's third grader. And so over here, what the heck? We're missing some numbers. Oh, yeah, because that means that rows 2 through 8 are not a second or third grader because we filtered it to just second and third graders. And then row 9, of course, is a second grader. Row 13 is a second grader. And then we jump down to row 21 is a third grader. So what Excel does is it simply just puts the row names, in this case, the numbers, makes it in like this purpley blue color, kind of a royal blue, if you will. And so it's just drawing your eye to it, drawing your attention, saying, hey, this doesn't represent your entire list of kiddos here. It's just a few of them because you have a filter employed. And you can see the little filter symbol that's right there. Well, what if we need just fourth graders now? No problem. Bam. We can just go here and go boom, boom if we want, and then just go to 4, or we can select whichever ones we want and then change our mind later and deselect stuff. You can do it any way you want, but we just want 4. So I say, okay. And now look at that. We only have 4. And we know this list is filtered for 2 reasons. One, there's a filter icon right there to the right of grade level. And we see this kind of royal blue numbering that's going on. So remember, you can always use your editing tools such as sorting and filtering, but you can also compound those sorts. Can't compound every single one, but you can compound a few of them to make the data more accessible to you to be able to find things that you're interested in. All right. That wraps up our Microsoft Excel tips and tricks, compound sorting and filtering. I hope this has been insightful for you. And please remind your colleagues and your coworkers that these videos are available on the Office Skills Training YouTube channel, available at San Diego Unified from the IT department. Thank you so much for joining us today. Have a wonderful day.